Welcome back to the PML, guys. I am here, Fawn, with my good friend. I was about to say Gormizer, but I was wrong.
I would love to be Gormizer.
Kresnik, you're
I
here
am Kresnik,
with
but
me.
if I could have been Gormizer, I would be much happier.
Okay, well, hey, I'm glad that you're here with me regardless of who it is. Thank you guys so much for joining us again for the next set. Penta versus All Business. We were talking about it a little bit before the game actually ends up getting started, about how all of these people are back. Like, all their rosters are back. No more subs, no more nothing. This is a full power Penta, a full power All Business.
Yeah, and these are teams that, could be close. That last match was really close. Both these teams got 3-0'd by their respective teams last week. So Penta bringing back Bolka and Ninu, and All Business now, Slapidopoulos out, Bugsy in.
Yeah.
That could be a big change for them. I mean, Bugsy's a historic player, being good in almost any role they put him on.
Yeah, I mean, that comes down to, like, really just, like, how these players play throughout the matchup and how it is that they'll end up evolving as the game goes on. Hopefully we'll see another long set chock full of some really sick, absolutely cool stuff coming up to you guys. I believe after we get to the after we end up getting to the map beds and stuff like that. But before that, both of these teams, I believe, they lost 3-0 last week.
Yep.
So was it to each other? Like, I'm trying to remember. Like,
no, both teams lost 3-0 to the teams that just played.
Oh, right.
Since that was 3-2, this could be a close game as well. I'd be really excited to see an absolute banger between these teams. Penta haven't really looked like they've been firing on all cylinders since they lost a ton of players. So if we get into the map bans, we can get to that and find out who's going to be taking it.
Yeah, let's take a look at the map bans here. We have Frozen Guard and Frog Isle. Both maps are gone. They have two more maps they've banned as well, both Timbermill and Fish Market. Now, those are maps that you normally see banned, but what is it? Like, tell me a little bit what.
No, I was just excited about Timber and Fish being out. I mean,
I personally,
yeah, those kind of really, really wide maps are out. I mean, Timber is specific, like Sniper, Vertical Flank, Heaven.
Yeah.
Seeing that gone, it's kind of a niche map, so they don't want to play into that style. And Fish is really wide. I mean, Quad DPS has been playable on Fish. It really is just hell for tanks a lot of the time. So some out of the way stuff being banned. So I'm expecting to see some standard. I mean, some of the maps have been more standard lately. Splitstone, Warders. We'll have to see where we end up.
Well, let's see what the first map is they have in store for us right now, which is Serpent Beach. Very, very first map. A common map. We've seen it today.
We saw it actually opening the last set.
We did.
I think
you're right.
We might see a full repeat here. I mean, EU. I've always said that they draft a little flowcharty sometimes. We might see some flowcharty map picks here too for the rest of the set. But for now, we're on Serpent Beach, a map that goes to 4-3 a lot, a map that has a lot of verticality, a lot of strong defensive advantage. Draft is going to decide what team has that advantage on those fights.
Yeah, well, immediately they just start to ban the Torval, which makes sense. It's a pretty standard ban. It's what you'd expect to see, really, just from any team, not just All Business or Penta. Makoa going to be the second ban of this match right now. They're going to get it a little bit more into.
You can ban Makoa?
Wow, that's crazy.
I didn't think so. After watching that last set, I didn't think you could ban Makoa because he got through basically every single time, especially after the BCL yesterday. But Makoa banned taking that kind of skill equalizer off the field. He's great on this map too, because if someone peeks high ground a little bit too much, just getting that immediate, like, no, come here.
Yeah.
Stop hiding.
Yeah.
We want to see high.
That's the Makoa for you, the Scorpion of this game. Atlas is banned as well as Genos, but they first pick Ashe, and that's something that's super interesting. It's something that you see, because I had asked Nick this question yesterday in the PCO, just in general overall, and Ashe has a lot of staying power, so by automatically locking her in, it allows them to stay on the point a little bit longer to even contest a Nara, if they're going to go that route, but I don't think they will. You don't normally see that.
Most of the time, she's not a point tank. People run Fortress Breaker when they do point tank, and that's kind of fallen out. She's going to be used to equalize the high ground, go from hers to the others immediately, or play from the low ground and get that assert dominance up there, kind of getting a stun on the back line. If Leon's not ready for it, she can't dash out of the way. That's a free pick. Leon's pretty squishy when she's not dashing out of the way.
Yeah, they go for the Leon pick on Penta's side. Grover, Khan being hovered. Now, here's a situation. We had just mentioned the fact about how we didn't think that Ashe was going to end up being the point taking the situation.
I don't think she will be still.
I
think it would still be Khan. Because I mean, he's kind of the hybrid main tank point tank, depending on the map. This isn't the best for him, but God, it's better than Ashe. I mean, they might still do it. It really depends on how the team wants to play, how slowly they're going to play. If they're going to play with this Grover as their healer and not a supplemental DPS, they might have to play slow. I mean, they have two really aggressive tanks, and Grover can get aggressive, but if they get dove while they're moving forward, he's just absolute fodder for the enemy team.
Yeah, it's a hard situation for him to be in. I see they lock the Ying, hovering the Willow as well. Now, Ying, her Illusionary Rift, her defensive, like, it's a pretty defensive ult. It allows people to stay in the fight a lot longer. Now, the thing is that I see Ying being picked. I saw Grover pick as well, like, obviously over there on All Business. But what is Penta saying to themselves that like we need a yin here. We need to be able to counter this situation at the
It's raw healing. I think just like
okay.
the healing output to compare with the Grover. Also, by not having CC on your healer, you kind of open up resilience to be a more niche buy. So maybe they'll get more out of the Inara when she ults or whatever their other tank is if they have a CC ultimate as well.
Okay.
That gets more value too, you know, just making them have to spread items. Now, Bulldozer might be a factor for them if they're thinking that as well.
All right, okay, that makes a lot of sense as well. I see Maeve and Victor are both picking this map as well, which is what, you know, that's a general, like, those are pretty general picks. Those are picks it is that I expect to see coming out on Super Beach. Victor, not as much. He's not as staple. He's more staple in the PCL, as we've talked about before. But on this map, it's a little bit, like, really, when you get into PC, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at these two drafts, I think both teams are kind of all over the place. I'm going to give the edge to Penta. I think the double point tank plus the Willow to counter the Grover is going to be enough to edge it out.
Well, that's it. Both teams are locked in. We're going to throw it right down to the casters to get into this first game.
Thank you, gentlemen. Set to a 3 versus 4 matchup in our first region of the day. About to get underway here. I'm still Dolson down here in the caster booth, joined by Gore Miser for your second set of the day. A little more Serpent Beach for you, Gore, and a team that won MSI but has maybe fallen down just a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things we've noticed. I mean, last week was probably the worst case scenario for them, right? Ninu, though. 2 subs that came in to play, and it's just like, man, your first match against our team who has been your rival, and you don't even have the full roster. Like, so Penta, I think, coming in this week, maybe with a different form, but the same thing can be said for All Business on the other side. Last week wasn't exactly the best for them. But you'll notice Slopodopoulos no longer there. And I believe Bugsy should be playing today.
Of course, Anthony back on the 1s and 2s for us in the back, observing this one. Ninu back in the lineup here. I mean, that's a huge loss, not having Ninu last week, of course, under alternate duty in the PPL, looking to help his team find a win here, but unbelievable with the first kill in this engagement. It's already going to force Penta back. They do have somebody sat on the point right now, though, so although they're getting swept out in this fight, the Barrack is going to garner 78% already for Penta.
If you had asked me who was doing that at the beginning of that, I would have been like, yeah, Ovum's got to be down there, right? Like, it was the Inara. Barrack's going to be fighting. Coriel's just mounted up down there. He's got his turret ready. He's got a barricade, trying to keep himself going. But the biggest thing is, like you said, Penta, you know, coming in, Ninu having his, like, period of time where he's gone into the PPL either as a sub or when he was playing for Virtus Pro. But the same thing can be said for All Business. Bugsy has been hands down one of the most flexible players, I would say, outside of Alex now, who I would argue is the most flexible. And so I want to see how he does, but so far, I mean, like, he's been getting kills, nothing crazy yet.
Yeah, nothing just as of yet. Looks like Ninu's going to pop the ultimate as well. Overtime starts for All Business here. They need to find some kills. Ninu helps CZ find number 1, have to back off. Xenos hitting some long-range daggers as well. Overtime, Whirlwind's going to cancel out a lot of the damage that All Business is outputting right now. Bugsy trying to find the daggers. Ninu's going to clean that one up very quickly, and Penta find themselves back on the point. Either team's point to win. It's whoever finds the kills, and All Business, they're the ones on the back foot as All Business are the ones who find point number 1.
It's just so close, right at the very end. 99-99. Overtime ticks down, and Coriel was just a few feet off. I think Penta were trying to get aggressive, trying to zone out All Business. Unfortunately, it kind of worked against them in that case, and now they end up having to figure out this defense. Luckily, they don't have too much to worry about once they're on the high ground. Until Assert Dominance comes up, I don't expect we're going to see Ashen use that to get up there, but it's always possible. But you're going to have to keep your eyes on, well, Bugsy on the Maeve. He's going to be looking to try and get up there, and he's going to cause a lot of disruption in this area right here. But CZ with a good shot gets him down almost immediately.
CZ with the help of Illusory Rift in the back line, giving Penta just a little bit of extra healing. Seismic Crash as well, stalls things out. Unbelievable force back, as is the rest of All Business. Nice wall, stops the shoulder bash from getting too much. Maybe would have been staggered out regardless, but a little flashy play there from the Inara. Penta hold firm on defense to start off here. Leon for CZ. Hit and miss to start off this game, but mostly hits there in that last defensive fight.
You know, I've always wanted to see Ovum versus Unbelievable, but I always thought it was going to happen in the PPL. I always thought it was going to be, because like prior to picking up Lazy, Unbelievable being on Na'Vi, and Ovum has just almost always been a phenomenal EU point tank, and it's just one of those matchups that I think is going to be a rare hit, right, where it comes through where the point tanks can determine so much of the matchup and can determine so much of how the flow of the game goes. I mean, Ovim, not only with that wall earlier, but in this case, going down, can swing a fight one way or the other.
Good examples of impactful Inaras in our first set of the day.
True.
Second or third top damage.
Those first 2 hours of games.
Right, first 2 hours of games. Contested matchup. Another contested matchup already starting off here. Penta looking to get themselves on the board for the first time today with a successful defense here as CZ pulling off that high ground. Bugsy's forced back a little bit. One more shot will do it from either, to be honest with you. He's going to elect to live and fight another day. Pounce is going to be ready to get him back up onto that high ground. 2-2 with the first kill. Immediately answered back, though. Ninu for Khan. Contested with 3 seconds left in this one, and CZ firing down. Needs to hit one more shot, 2 more maybe, to clean up the victor here in this case. And another illusory rift is maybe going to keep Penta in just a little bit longer.
It should keep him rolling. I mean, you can see Ovim health literally resetting back to full, even though he was so close to dead. And that's going to garnish him a defense if they can clean up a couple more kills. They do lose 2 big members in the process. CZ, Nino, Booth going down makes it a little more difficult to try and keep yourself in control. And Coriel, what are you doing so far up? I mean, he is way out of line.
Yeah, and he loses his life for it. Klosar stays alive. The victor doing the damage, fighting despite Barrick being behind his shield there in that case. Ninu falls in what looked like a good defense from Penta. Suddenly really hangs in the balance. CZ some good rotational shots onto Bugsy. Cleans that one up. Getting aggressive, a little bit too aggressive though. Xenos finds the axe. Drops CZ, and Barrage could just seal this one up. Gets a kill, helps unbelievable drop off Ovim. And now it's all down to Coriel on the Barrick. Ninu's, and he's not going to be able to stay alive and contest very long. Now just last-ditch efforts here in all business. Point number 2. After Penta looked like they were good on the defensive side.
I mean, that kill for Ninu was really good there, but honestly, I'm going to dissect nothing on the side of Penta. It's the 8-2 and 10 victor. Klosar is blowing things out of the water. Like, that barrage was very solid. Before that, he was on when he hit that, an 11 streak. Before that, a 10 streak. Holding up angles that, again, you don't typically get to see. Victor honestly doesn't come through too often. But the 62,000 damage that he's doing, the slash line that he's doing, are very, very difficult to argue against. Klosar is blowing this one away.
Penta looking for anything to keep them in this one. Caught 2s, Wrecker 2 as well for them. But already, Wrecker 3 for Klosar, Cauterize 3 for Toot Toot. And then you get Caught 2, Bulldozer, and Wrecker on Bugsy down at the bottom.
Full Red Ranger.
Full Red Ranger build. Assert Dominance drops down. Dome Shoot onto the high ground as well. Ninu with a great angle on Toot Toot here. Forces the dash away. Not going to be to any sort of safety. It's unbelievable. Trades back with one on to Bolka, though. Getting rid of Klosar would be huge here, and Ninu's at least able to do that.
A couple of good axes here might be able to make a difference, but with Klosar down, Xenos down, it's going to open up this point a little bit more. Unbelievable. You can withstand a lot of damage, but I don't know if you can withstand, well, only 3 members worth of Penta looking at you. And it's really, really solid play. A really good Fade Flight into just really good blast damage from Ninu so far.
Couple kills traded back and forth. Penta finally getting themselves on the board here. Fast Cap helping them out, but regardless, they won the team fight. It's not really a second chance for all business in that one. Both teams using the full suites of ultimates. Overpower came out a little bit late there for Toot Toot on the all business side, but Penta nonetheless get themselves on the board for the first time in this set. Ninu, great mid-fight there as well.
And that Fade Flight does exactly what you need it to. It's one of those scenarios, you know, when you look at Bomb Kings, like, hey, play like a pro for him, play like a pro for Khan. Both times were mentioned